Hi everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. In today's video lesson, I'm going to be creating some spirit stones based on the theme of peace. So what I've got, I was inspired by these stencils here, and these are from DecoArt. These are the they're reusable stick-on stencil. This is for gloss enamels, but you can use it for whatever you want. And then this peace stencil here. This one's going to be a bit challenging because the rocks are curved, so we'll see what happens. And what I've got, and I'm going to quickly go over the set because I've covered this in previous videos, so there's no point in wasting time. Picked up the stones in a bag from Home Depot. You can use anything you want. And this one I'm actually going to create a video about for a house sign, but the rocks come like this. You want to wash them in warm soapy water, use a scrubby pad to get rid of all the dirt, rinse well, let air dry. Then you're going to take rubbing alcohol with a paper towel and give it where you're going to be painting the detail. Another coat on that, let that dry. If your stones are polished or a little bit shiny, take some gesso and apply a coat. So I've already put one coat on here. This is with 2 coats. But you're just going to take a shader brush, just an Aqualon number 10, nothing fancy. It doesn't matter what brush you use for the gessoing part, just use your favorite brush. And you're going to apply the gesso, and then you're going to let it dry. You're going to turn it over, paint the back side, let it dry. Then you're going to come in and do the sides. Depending on the rock that you're working with, you may be able to do this stage in 2 steps. Okay, so I'm going to cover that. And the gesso is just going to help the paint stick. You may not need the gesso. Depends on what paint you're using. I'm using DecoArt Americana DeCor Chalky finish, which sticks to everything. But if I was using, let's say, Traditions or something else, even the media fluid acrylics, adding gesso doesn't hurt. It helps. Also, depending on the color you're putting down, if you're putting something very light, this is a really good way to lighten the stone, because you know how many coats of yellow paint you would have to put on that to make your stone yellow? A lot. All right, so let's move you out of the way. So I've got this stone here, and the back I only put 1 coat of gesso. Not worried about the back. So I've got this here. So what I'm going to do, the colors I'm using, again, they're the, so I don't dribble the paint, the Chalky finish, and Victorian, Legacy, and Whisper. I'm going to do some color mixing. I ran out of Everlasting, which is the white. So I'm going to see what happens with this one. If this one's too yellow, I'm going to work with Lace, which is actually pretty good, but still has a bit of a yellow tint. And then at the end, we're going to varnish with Ultramatte Varnish. So what I want to do here is I want to create a modeled look. And my modeling is going to be done with blue. And that's way too much paint. Don't need that much, but if I put just a tiny amount, you won't be able to see it. So let's see. So the finish will actually be a little bit on the green side. And let me just do this. I'm going to go into Whisper, then bring some of the blue in. As with any acrylic-based paint, it'll dry a little bit darker. So I'm looking for that. So I'm just going to put that on there. And every time I reload, I'm going to go into one color, then reload, go into the other color. Don't overmix. And this is best done, if possible, wet on wet. Turn your brush around. And just don't fuss if you see ridges of paint. It'll all work out. This project can be done in under 15 minutes. The only buzzkill is the drying time. So doing these in big batches is the way to go. Just want to soften that a little bit. There we are. All right, so now I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. And the step basically is we're going to stencil the text, and then the symbol, let that dry. We can add a little bit of embellishment and varnish. That's it. Like I said, 15 minutes. You can create a beautiful little spirit stone. Now, if you want to use your heat gun to dry this, It's best if you can use a hair dryer if at all possible, because the heat gun might be a bit too hot and the stone will get very hot and you might bubble the paint. So just keep that in mind if you're speeding up the drying time. All right, so once you have that painted, you're gonna have two sides. And one thing I forgot to cover off, I have a sheet of palette paper or padded palette paper just to help the shot, because my table is glass, so that's why I have that there. So this rock actually sits quite better. This rock sits better this way than this way. So it depends on, you know, which way you want it to sit. But I'm gonna hang on to it this way because I like how it faces forward a bit. And we'll put a little bit of Victorian on there. And I'm gonna grab just a little bit more of Whisper. And let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stencil the words first. And yeah, I'll just use peace. Come on. So my idea is to put that here and then the smallest piece symbol right there. So these stencils are stick-on. Now the ones that I have, the stick has diminished over the years. It's because of the amount of cleaning and stuff like that. So these ones are fairly new. There's some that are they just won't stick anymore, and then I have to basically look for getting a replacement. So I'm going to take a little 1/4 inch stencil brush. I'm going to go into Whisper, then go into a little bit of Victorian, and what I'm looking for, I didn't want it to be as dark purple as that. Actually, the dark is much nicer. Yeah, I like that. Looking at it off, patting a paper towel. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna go back into the dark. I'm not a lettering expert, nor am I a stenciling expert. I would love to be able to freehand text. The key when doing any stenciling is a light application. And cleaning your stencil right away, which I'm guilty of not doing. I find cleaning supplies to be such a fun sucker. It just sucks out all creative juices. Yeah, like that. But what I will do, baby wipe. Especially with text stencils, you want to keep them clean to keep the edges nice and crisp. And then, oh, you know what I realized? The dot in the middle came out. You know how I can fix that? Easy peasy. Are you dry yet? Yep. I can take a dot of that, and although it will be a different color, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm actually liking that. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to just take the heat gun for a sec. Just on this part here. Now for this, this is going to be a little bit challenging. That's going to be challenging. You know what? I'm going to go into the blue. Let's try just the blue. This is a 3/16. By using only 3 colors, which are close to each other, because in purple there's blue, and then the lighter color is the base. By limiting yourself to just a few colors, your piece won't look so confusing. Get it, piece? Haha. Yeah, I know. Joe keeps telling me, don't give up your day job. Oh, I really could have used a sticky stencil for this one. I don't think this one's going to be crisp on the edges. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. The goal is to make these projects quick and easy. So how would I fix that in here? Well, I can take some of that modeling color and just, with a dry brush, and just pat over it. And again, this is something you don't even have to do. I should turn around and get myself a smaller stencil brush, but see? That actually turned out pretty good. And right here, some paint seeped underneath. And I'll just pat that. There we go. So this is, you know, making these little stones like this are really nice little gifts that you can give out to people. What I like doing with these types of stones is I leave them as abandoned art. I'll put them into a little bag, make a little card, and just leave it around the escarpment for people to pick up. Completely anonymous. There we go. How cute is that? So you know what else we can do with this? Is you can take the stylus and just add a few dots. Looks like little stars. And I am going to put one here, right there. You can even dot down here. I was going to try doing this with the brush, but I know where that was going to lead. Here we go. All finished. So, and then let it dry, and then you're going to apply a coat of varnish. So I'm going to clean up, come back, finish off the rock, and let's see what we've got. It's time to varnish. And this takes, this part here also takes time because you've got to do it in layers. So I'm using Ultra Matte, and this is good for outside. So what I'll do, using my large 3/4 inch wash brush, and I'll apply a layer of varnish. And light and even is better than thick. So that there, let it dry, turn it over, repeat on the back side, let it dry. If your stone is so uneven that you can't do it in one step, then basically I'm gonna do the sides, let it dry, and then repeat that probably another 1 or 2 times, depending on where they're going to be left. Now, this is going to be an art abandonment project, so I'm going to put with 3 layers of varnish on it because I don't know how long it'll be before somebody finds it. And one thing I did notice, which I'm not liking, is that sticks out too much. I should have left it. So it's an experiment. I always look at mistakes as opportunities to try different things. There. Problem solved. Problem solved. So, okay, so varnish, dry, backside, varnish, dry, edges, varnish, dry, then repeat that 2 or 3 more times, and then the stone will be ready to go. So I really hope that you enjoyed this little project. Again, very quick, simple little projects, you know, giving you the opportunity to, you know, make some art quick and easy. Gotta let that pea pea dry. And, you know, just put a smile on somebody's face. You can use any type of text, any type of symbols. And you can even go as fully detailed as creating, you know, painting the rocks in the shape of animals. So you can do that as well. So let your imagination run wild, and I hope to see you in my next Spirit Stone video. So until then, stay inspired.